Hello and welcome, I'm your Kudmaki. So here's a very interesting strategy that I've thought about for quite a long time and that I think can be a generally very good strategy for indie devs that are trying to find success. I call it the underserved audience method, and the idea behind it is you can find the next rate indie game idea hiding inside some bad Steam reviews. Steam has an insane amount of games, and most of those games are actually very, very good. There is a lot of competition, and nowadays one of the toughest parts of being an indie dev is actually finding an audience for a game. Steam is absolutely massive with over 40 million concurrent users. That's a lot of people, but also there's quite a lot of games, so it's always difficult for you as an indie dev to find an audience to play your games. Nowadays, marketing is insanely important, and the number one marketing rule, that is simply your game idea. Some ideas just inherently have more of an audience than others. So my theory for indie devs to find success is basically this. Try to switch from thinking about personal taste, just making games that you want to play just like that. Instead, try to first validate that there's demand for that type of game, and then you actually build that game. Now, anytime I mention this, some people always say, oh, but I don't want to make games just for the sake of making games, just for making money. And to that, I always say the same thing, which is you want to find the Venn diagram of things that you want to play, that you want to make, and things that do have players. Obviously, making games is insanely difficult, so if you try to make a game that you generally hate, for example, if I were to make a visual novel, I would not be able to make a good one because I don't enjoy that genre. So everything that I'm going to talk about in this video is meant to be within that Venn diagram, so you combine things that do have an audience with things that you do want to play, and it's that thing down the middle that is what you should make. And like I said, I named this method the underserved audience method for one very simple reason. On this method, instead of thinking, what game do I want to make? Instead of that, you think, what audience is currently being served badly? So first you validate there's an audience for this type of game idea. Secondly, you validate, okay, this audience is big enough. Thirdly, this audience is being very badly served. So I'm going to serve this audience myself and serve it in a much better way. In very practical terms, the strategy that I'm saying here is you find a game kind of like this. A game that has a decent amount of reviews, which means there's a decent audience interested in this concept. But those reviews are negative, which means they were not happy with this kind of game. The theory being that if you make a game on a similar idea, you already know this idea is appealing because there's clearly an audience for it. So if you take that idea and you actually build it in a proper way, if you actually do some very good execution, if so, then hopefully you will achieve this baseline of success and actually achieve much, much more. Now, one very important thing about this method is this: you are not looking for bad ideas. Instead, you are looking for good ideas that were trapped inside some bad execution. Which in turn, that is a great opportunity. That tells you, okay, if you take this good idea and you give it some good execution, you might find some very good success. Here's my equation for this theory. So you find games that have a decent amount of reviews. At best, getting something like 500 plus, that means insane demand for this idea. But at least I would say at least like 100 reviews, but obviously the more the better. Because these reviews are very much proof that people actually do want to buy and play these games. You can only post a review if you actually buy and play it. So if you see a game with 500 reviews, you know for a fact quite a lot of people bought it. Now if the execution is bad, chances are most of them actually refunded. But again, we're trying to find games that have a very core audience. A lot of people demand this idea, but the execution was very bad. So we have the opportunity to beat them on execution, basically find success. You also want to find games with low rating. Again, that's the same thing. We're not trying to compete with something that already works very well, but something where there's clearly an audience, but that audience was very much disappointed. That way you can come in after and actually not disappoint them. You also want games that have a clear genre. So you don't want something that is completely way out there, something that is way too unique, that is very difficult to replicate. You want things like, for example, my favorite one on this specific type of equation is the simulator genre. There are so many jump simulator games on Steam. So many of them cover different themes, but they're all very much on the same job simulator genre. So that way, at least you know, okay, so this core fantasy, that one does have a demand. And if you have all these, you have an underserved audience, which you can serve very well, and then of course, reap the rewards. And here's a very practical advice for how you can find these kinds of games. You can go on SteamDB. That one actually has quite a lot of search filters. You first start off by picking the game tag itself, which like I said, Job Simulator is probably the best one for this strategy. Then you of course want to pick games only. Then a minimum of certain amount of reviews. Like I said, over 500, that is an insanely good amount, but even just 100, chances are that is actually very good. In case you don't know, there's actually a way for how you can estimate how much money a game made, and that is all based on reviews. That is using the box and ladder method. And the way that method works is you basically take reviews, multiply it by a certain multiplier, anywhere between, let's say, 30 and 100. So let's say something like 40 or 50. And that basically gives you a rough estimate for the number of copies. Which means, again, going back to these numbers, if you find a game that does have 100 reviews, chances are it's sold at least like 4,000 or 5,000 copies. Which chances are, if it's a $10 game, that is at least like $50,000 in gross revenue, which by itself would already put you on like the top 10% of Steam. So you find these games, and then of course you sort it by rating, and then basically just check all of those that have a pretty bad rating that follow all of these filters. So here it is where I did exactly that. So I searched for games only in the Job Simulator tag that have over 5% rating, just because if you don't put this, it tells you games that are literally unrated, so that is not helpful. You want to find games that have negative reviews. So over 5% rating, and then over 100 reviews. Just because if it's too small, if it's like 10 reviews, there's not enough of an audience, but if there's 100, chances are there's at least some of an audience for this core idea. Then you just sort by rating, and over here you can see all of these various different games. All of these have pretty negative reviews, so all of these are under 70%. So you can look at all of these, and you can try to see all of these various ideas. Some like bartender VR simulator, some like a service IT simulator, a monster mop-up, some kind of ride control. So here you've got all kinds of different themes, all kinds of different ideas, and they all have quite a lot of reviews. For example, this one has almost 900 reviews. That is an insane amount. This one definitely sold, something like 50,000 copies? That is an insane amount. So clearly people do want this specific idea, but the reviews are mixed, which means they did not quite like this execution. So then of course comes the next step, which is actually analyzing the reviews. You try to see what are the repeated complaints so you know what not to do in your game. You try to see the positive ones so you know what players like so you can actually do that part. Then of course check whether those problems can be fixable by a small team. So if you see some kind of review that says, okay, this game isn't the scale of GTA 6, then chances are that's not really useful for you as an indie dev. So focus on identifying problems that you could technically fix with your resources. And finally, does this core fantasy have room for a better version? Which for the most part, chances are most games, yep, you can. You can probably take this kind of game, ride control, and you can probably make a good version of it. If the reviews say the game has bad controls, go ahead and make sure those controls are nice and satisfying. And especially for this kind of job simulator thing, making some very tactile interactions, players will love that. If they say not enough content, that is one where you have to analyze yourself, okay, are people expecting GTA level content? Or are they really just saying, okay, these progression systems, they're really very compelling. Chances are you can actually add content without having to build an insane amount of content. If they tell all about game-breaking bugs, then yep, that's a simple one. Just make sure your game is nicely executed, everything runs well. Same thing for the UI. It is very easy to make a very confusing UI, so if you see most reviews on that, definitely spend quite a bit of time making sure the user experience is as positive as possible. If you do all of this, then basically by default, the execution of your game won't be much better than the other game, which in turn leads to positive reviews, and since you already validated the audience already exists, that can mean to quite a lot of success. Now, of course, I should point out, obviously none of this has guaranteed success. There's nothing in life that will guarantee success, but if you are smart with your decisions, you can definitely increase the odds of finding success. Nowadays in indie dev, finding success is insanely difficult, so literally anything that gives you a boost of like 10, 20, 50%, I think that's definitely worth it. So if that is your goal, I do generally think this strategy can be very good. But again, as you're analyzing all those games that do have potential, keep these in mind, so technically the audience might be actually too niche, which even if the audience is decent, which even if you find some kind of game that has like 200 views, that means it's a decently sized audience. But if it is so niche that it might be very difficult to reach them, that might actually not work out. Alternatively, if all the sales were driven by just a one-time streamer kind of anomaly, that can definitely happen. So you can definitely have a game with a specific theme that does very well, but only does very well because the streamer picked it up. So if you do another game on that one theme, without that streamer, without getting lucky, maybe it won't work. The reviews count can also be inflated by deep discounts. So that is something you can also check over here on SteamDB. You can find the pricing history. So you can see, okay, was the game sold for literally like 50 cents? If so, that is probably going to inflate the review count without necessarily guaranteeing that if you make a game in that genre, that it will actually find that level of success. Or it could also be the genre is unexpectedly hard to develop. So if you're using this strategy specifically for making like very complex, like physics-driven multiplayer games, I would say definitely be very careful with that. You definitely need to analyze it very well. Or it might simply be impossible player expectations. So again, same thing, if most players are comparing this game idea with something like GTA, chances are those players, they have very unrealistic expectations. So even if you try your best, chances are execution will be generally nearly impossible. Essentially, here's the 6-step framework. First, you pick with some kind of game tag. Again, like I said, Job Simulator is probably the best one for this strategy, but you can definitely experiment with it with different tags like management, base building, life sim, colony sim, those kinds of things. Then you do that kind of search that I showed you. Basically, you filter for demand. You try to find games that have at least like 100 reviews. Chances are that means there's demand for this specific idea. And then, of course, you sort them by weak satisfaction, by negative reviews. If they are negative or just mixed, chances are the audience was not satisfied with that specific idea. So then you read those reviews in order to identify what were the pain points, what were the things that people did not like of this idea. And then as with basically any kind of game, if you want to find success, you should do some kind of visual prototyping. Do a ton of GIFs, a ton of shorts on YouTube, that kind of thing, in order to validate, is there genuinely an audience for this kind of idea? And if you did the filtering that I mentioned, chances are, yes, there will be an audience for that idea. So then you really just need to execute it. You need to execute it very well. And if you do, then hopefully you will reach that same audience, which you already know is decently sizable. If you execute well, you will end up with very positive reviews. And hopefully you end up with success on the level of Supermarket Simulator. The whole point of this strategy is you don't have to invent demand from zero. You already know there is demand for this idea. You start off by finding demand that already exists. You find players who were disappointed by the execution but love the core idea. Then really just execute it well yourself. In doing so, the odds of you finding success are much higher, as opposed to if you just pick something randomly without doing any of this market analysis. So yep, this is my theory, the underserved audience method. I do believe it's a great way of finding good game ideas that do have potential for success. Honestly, I really wish I wasn't so busy making all kinds of videos, entering course comments, questions, and so on. I really wish I wasn't so busy so I could actually test out this idea. But since I can't, I'm making this video showing you all this idea. If I did have time, this is exactly what I would be doing. So if any of you are thinking of picking your next game idea in order to find success, maybe try out this strategy. And I really hope you do find success. Also, if you want to learn all about Steam game marketing, you can check out the videos that I did with Steam expert Chris Zukowski. He shares a lot of advice that have helped many devs reach tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of wishlists. And if you want all that knowledge gathered in just one place, then check out his courses. He is currently running a nice discount as part of his summer sale. So if you want to learn how to get more wishlists and sell more copies, then check out the link in the description. The sale is ending this week, so get it quickly. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.